Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Crick Friends. And as Shoaib Malik said, the ढोल निकालो, भंगड़े डालो, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान finally India से जीत गया है. First Asia Cup win after 2014 against our arch rivals, and that too in style. I mean, मेरी खुशी आपको मेरी शक्ल से नजर आ रही होगी. I swear तकरीबन 24 घंटे होने वाले हैं, लेकिन स्माइल कम नहीं हो रही. With me, I have Zoha, who's always here. We missed her in the last episode. And we have a special guest for today's episode. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Eman. Like the rest of you who are watching, I'm assuming, I am just a cricket fan, self-proclaimed analyst sometimes, but that's just my own ego speaking. But yeah, I'm really excited and happy to be here.
As you can clearly see, the intro is literally us as well. Matlab, hum bhi self-proclaimed cricket specialists hain. So let's go straight to the big match that just happened yesterday. Pakistan versus India. Achha, honestly, when we won the toss, na maine kaha, आधा match जीत गए, बस आधा बाकी जो है ना जी जाएंगे. Cause the way is cursed, regardless of how good you play in the first inning. जब semi-final भी था, toss हार के हमारी बैटिंग हुई थी, तो एकदम से अंदर से realization हो गई कि आज बैट सीन है. But when the Indian batters came out to bat, and suddenly realizing the Naseem Shah, जो बड़ा शुरू के ओवर में बड़ी स्विंग लेता था और बड़ी विकेट्स लेता था, is being bullied by Rohit Sharma. And then we had Hasnain making his comeback, and honestly, बहुत दिल की खुशी हुई थी. Because almost a month ago he was banned, and suddenly he's out there bowling at 150 Ks. So let's begin. Zoha, would you like to comment on our bowling and like good vibes only, or do you see anything that concerned you a bit?
I don't think our bowling was a concern. Clearly, the pitch was, not conducive to fast bowling. So the way that I didn't think there was anything particularly wrong with any of our fast bowlers. The seams, length, and lines were fine. Hasnain's was brilliant for his comeback. I thought he was doing really well. And like the wicket that he took, I celebrated it with all of my heart.
Especially because it was
Jumping.
Hardik Pandya. Like,
Yeah,
इसकी wicket पे ज़्यादा खुशी थी.
yeah, it was the perfect comeback.
Exactly.
It was like meant to be.
And
उसके
his line
अलावा
and length was so good, वैसे.
yeah, and clearly even like I saw a few people coming after Haris Rauf, but like, did you see his death bowling? क्या हो गया यार? What it was one like two balls चलो जो फखर की चली गई like it's fine. वो दो balls की वजह से Haris Rauf की how can we just be?
Imagine Virat Kohli, a prime Virat Kohli, playing at 16, but not exactly prime, but in very good form, playing at almost 60 with a strike rate of 140. And suddenly it's the last over. He's refusing the singles because he's like, मैंने over में मारनी है. And at 153 kilometers per hour, right in the block hole, and Virat Kohli had no answer whatsoever, almost as if this was unplayable. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कोई और बॉल बैटर होता तो वो दरमियान से बॉल निकल के बोल्ड हो जाता, लेकिन खैर क्या करे रऊफ की इस वक्त इतनी किस्मत खराब, थोड़ी किस्मत खराब थी. बैटिंग हमने फास्ट बॉलिंग तो डिस्कस कर दी, लाइक इट वाज अमेजिंग. ईमान, आई विल कम टू यू नाउ. शादाब एंड नवाज, जब 4 ओवर में बहुत मार पड़ रही थी, सडनली द मैन ऑफ क्राइसिस नवाज इज कॉल्ड ऑन टू बॉल, एंड सडनली यू फील एज इफ इंडियन बैटर्स हैं, पावर प्ले है, ही इज गोना गो फॉर रन्स. But his line and length was so beautiful, फंसा के रखा हुआ, and whenever they bowl, both of them, उनको runs ही नहीं पड़ते. It's almost as if they suffocate the opposition. Shadab Khan has bowled so much, so many overs, but he's yet to concede a sixer in Asia Cup. So what are your overall thoughts on our spin department? You know, people are saying Imad Wasim कहाँ गया है. I think Imad Wasim is long gone, in my opinion, after yesterday's match.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Imad. Always really liked him, ex-Karachi Kings fan, so obviously part and parcel. I did see a lot of people saying that Imad's bowling is better, but Nawaz's batting is better, and I'm inclined to agree sometimes. But when you're talking about the UAE and you're talking about Nawaz, there is no other man you would want there, right? When you just look at his numbers, which PSL was it जो UAE में Nawaz ने बहुत अच्छा खेला था? Was it last year? I'm terrible with memory and stuff, but
last
Nawaz
year was
has
actually quite bad for Quetta in itself. So like pretty sure पुराना
उससे
this
पहले but like हाँ तो उसके numbers बहुत अच्छे थे. You can trust him in the UAE. I was a little bit, I mean, unsure with our bowling changes. I say unsure very kindly. I was actually really pissed off But the thing is, I wasn't. I when the pitch report came and they said it's green and grassy, थोड़ा सा डर था कि अगर टॉस जीत भी गए हम and we choose to ball, if they hit like crazy, and they will be able to because the pitch is like that, will we be able to chase a big score? And then they started and there was like pace upon pace upon pace, and I was like, but it was also smart in a way because then we choked them in the middle so well, spin after spin after spin. So it was like
I have
really
a
great
small
mind.
question related to this. The commentators
Yeah.
were saying, considering how well Shadab and Nawaz were bowling, Khushdil deserved an over according to them. I slightly agree with that because Khushdil is someone who also chokes runs. Like his performance
Yeah.
as an opening bowler for Multan Sudan, amazing. Left-handed off spinner who like darts one in. So do you think we could have actually gone with an over or two with Khushdil, or do you think that the stage was too big to actually experiment? Well, I can't really say that because they experimented with Nawaz later, and that
Yeah.
turned out to be a master stroke. But still,
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, कभी मुझे लगता है हम लोग बहुत experimental हो सकते हैं with our bowling. Like, I feel like Babar has that capacity. और कभी मुझे लगता है हम बहुत experimental हो सकते हैं with our batting. So he always surprises me. If you'd ask me like the day before, I'd be like, oh, he's more experimental with bowling than he's batting. But I feel like at one point my TL was just like, Khushal ko bowl karo. फिर someone would get out, be like, Iftikhar ko bowl karo. You have options, play them. But that being said, that's what happens when you walk into a game with so many bowling options, right? There's a lot of different things that can work. It doesn't mean that there's only one right answer. It means that, yeah, this might be more right than the other one in your opinion, but it's not the worst thing in the world if you don't. But no, there were definitely opportunities for Kushal to bowl. I don't I trust him as a bowler, I suppose. It definitely in the PSL, but no, I'm glad that we stuck to our plans, and I'm glad that it worked out. I गालियां दे रही थी बाबर को in the beginning, मगर what works in the end. I'm fine. Q's fine. We're good.
when Babar decided to bring on Haris Rauf in the fourth over, that also invited quite some backlash. But when you think
Yeah.
about it, Haris Rauf was actually bowling as if he's bowling in the death overs, and Rohit was actually slogging as if it is the last over. So in the end, his change of pace actually did the trick. उसने वो slow ball करा एकदम से सारे वो उसने he went through his shot and didn't realize. So Babar has a cricketing brain that turns out to be amazing. बेशक Twitter पे
He
थोड़ी सी
knows,
गालियां
man.
पड़े. So
Yeah, he knows. Like, I know, and that's the frustrating thing sometimes because either people are acting like Babar kuch nahi pata, or people are acting like Babar does everything right. Like, he has a really smart cricketing brain, and that's why it's a little bit frustrating when he, makes a decision that isn't that great.
The
In
so
in
well,
moment
my opinion.
so we talked
the moment
about the bolo bolo.
But I was just saying, the only moment I got like really frustrated was when he gave Naseem that third over. I was like, "Ye kyun, Abhi? Kyun? Why did you do that to the poor baby?" But
And
then, all's
at
well
that
that
point,
ends.
I was thinking, why didn't he let Shadab continue? Like, technically, Shadab is going to bowl the 15th over now. जिसमें मार पड़नी होती है. And Shadab was on a roll, literally getting wickets. अच्छा Shadab की bowling इतनी मजे की होती. कभी कभार लगता है he's bowling too short, but he has such a good mind. He reads what the batters actually do. I mean, look at Rishabh Pant's की wicket. He literally bowled उसकी leg से बाहर wide, but he saw कि वो reverse sweep कर, and suddenly he's caught. Yeah. So that is actually pretty phenomenal in my opinion. So we talked about Fakhar Zaman. Fakhar Zaman say, Mustafiz, if you have your camera issue sorted, so like, can we resume? So my question is regarding Fakhar Zaman. I remember you tweeting थोड़ा गुस्से में कि उसको किसी ने बताया नहीं कि पहली बॉल से अटैक करना है. Knowing Fakhar, I think he slightly takes time on the pitch and then starts slogging. मतलब Fakhar Australia वाला मैच भी देख लो semi-final वाला. He took some time and suddenly he's smashing sixes all over the ground. But being frankly honest, his form is slightly like and Pakistan people are saying usko nikalna chahiye and all. I wanted your take on this. Fakhar Zaman, should he continue and all? Personally, I still think he deserves a place because वो एक दिन मैच पूरा जिता सकता है on his own.
मेरा वही ओपिनियन है पहले से when your openers are the ones जिन्होंने they are going to take a considerable amount of deliveries on the crease, then your general approach should be कि that is okay, उसमें कुछ मसला नहीं है, but then your middle order cannot take too many deliveries. For example, a 10 ball 17 or a 10 ball 18 in that scenario is better than a 21 ball 20 or a 21 ball 24, right? और अगेन फखर के खिलाफ एक लेग ही था और फखर does not struggle against leg spinners unless he's told to not go against them. So I felt like it wasn't as if वो कोशिश कर रहा था थोड़ा hard on जाने की या even strike rotate करने की. It just felt like he was using up a lot of deliveries, but that cannot happen unless आपको पीछे से ये कहा गया है कि don't go hard right now. I feel like Nawaz, when he was sent on, he was given that freedom to go at it, to play his game. Jo loose ball aa rahi thi, he was hitting it. Going at the ball does not mean slogging it. Going at the ball means when you see a delivery that can be put away, take that chance to put it away. Or I feel like Fakhar is more than capable of doing that. We've seen it बहुत ज़्यादा. पर मुझे लग रहा है कि he's been told somehow to not play that game in recent memory, जिसकी वजह से he's been struggling.
I low key agree with you, and I still remember the Fakhar Zaman Champions Trophy वाला जिसको पुल शॉट मारनी नहीं आती, लेकिन वो फिर भी हर इंग्लैंड के फास्ट बॉलर के खिलाफ ऐसे बाहर निकल के पुल शॉट मारा जैसे उसको रोकनी नहीं है. And his top edges got his sixes as well as fours, and I really miss that person. So I totally agree with you on that.
I
Isn't
feel
it?
like get back him on doing what he does best, and trust me, बहुत utility player है पाकिस्तान के लिए, and he's shown that in the past.
But I slightly think वो लेग्स में स्ट्रगल करते हैं, बीइंग अ लाहौर कलंदर्स फैन जिसने 7 साल हारते हुए उनको देखा है. मुझे अभी भी याद है इमरान ताहिर हुआ, ठीक है, उसने इसको इतनी दफा आउट किया हुआ है, ठीक है. इमरान ताहिर ने वर्ल्ड कप में भी आउट किया, आदिल रशीद ने भी इतना आउट किया है, सर शादाब खान एज वेल. एंड यूर लाइक Fakhar, he goes for his log sweep and suddenly you realize, oh no, that was a googly. के राहुल को भी इसके ऊपर हम कहना चाहेंगे, प्लीज बॉय अगली दफा पहली बॉल देख के खेलना उसके बाद, ठीक है. तो with that being said, I'll Zoha, were you in that Twitter space last night जहाँ पे वो बता रहे थे the thinking in the camp behind actually sending Nawaz?
No, I mean I heard bits of it, but मेरा internet इतना खराब था कि I only heard like Hassan Chima
अच्छा.
talking a bit,
Yeah,
and
so
then I left.
I'll explain it. So Hassan Chima actually revealed that after the India match, the first one, they had a change of mentality. So they said that if Fakhar gets out, we send Nawaz, left hand, right hand. But whereas if anyone from Babar or Rizwan gets out and Fakhar is batting already, they'll send Shadab there. So it's a big thing. And you know, when people saw Rizwan coming, Nawaz coming out, even the commentators had no idea वो कौन है. वो कह रहे he sent out there to smash the spinners, whereas कोयटा ग्लैडिएटर पे देख देख के वो फास्ट बॉलर को जो ऐसे सीधा छक्का मारता है हाफ फ्रंट फुट पे जो पुल होती है उसकी, you're like, even if the commentators don't know him, I'm pretty sure the Indian team has no idea बंदा कौन है. And that was fairly evident. The moment he came on, they brought back their pace attack and bowled their half trackers. और वो आराम से छक्के मार रहा है. And I'm like, I always knew you're one for the future, जिसने कोयटा ग्लैडिएटर का कैप्टन भी बनना है अनकरीब. No disrespect to
Agree.
Safar. No disrespect to
Agree.
Safar. He's a very mature player, Nawaz, and a man of crisis. PSL में भी इतने मैचेस में आखिरी ओवर में होगा and suddenly they're like Nawaz bowling करो and he'll ball. I'm not sure if you guys remember, they needed 7 to win and Nawaz bowled such good Yorkers and वो जीत गए थे कोयटा ग्लैडिएटर with 1 run to spare. इसी तरह even against Bangladesh, if you remember, he was sent out to play. They were like, there was 1 ball left and they needed a 4. नवाज भाई विकेट छोड़ते थे, मैंने बॉल खेलनी नहीं है, विकेट को लगती है पूरा ढाका स्टेडियम पागल हो जाता है. नवाज इज लाइक, आई डोंट केयर, गिव मी द नेक्स्ट बॉल इनसाइड आउट, एंड ऑफ स्टोरी. ही लिटरली जस्ट टुक ऑफ हिज ग्लव्स एंड वॉकड ऑफ. सो
He's
बहुत
iconic.
इज्जत,
अच्छा
बहुत
एक
इज्जत.
मिनट, मैंने एक बात करनी है. ये जो फखर की डिस्कशन हो रही थी, आई एम अ बिग फैन ऑफ फखर, बट आई थिंक ये थोड़ा सा कॉन्स्पिरेशनल हो गया है कि इन्होंने फखर को कहा हुआ है कि डोंट हिट, okay, be careful, because he is the man who hits, okay. I think, and it pains me to admit this, and I think Zoha might know this because I cry about how Fakhar is going down the drain aajkal, magar he is struggling against spin. He shouldn't be, he is.
Yeah,
He is
that's
out
the
of
cricket
form
truth.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like उसको कहा नहीं गया कि आप विकेट बचाओ, because there's no use in that, and he's top order.
हाँ, और एक
वो
और चीज
चिड़िया
notice
की
करो, when the
रोटियां।
fast bowlers are there, he literally middles the ball and even if it's not going to the boundaries, it's flying to the fielders. ठीक है, but
Yeah, he's
whereas
a really pretty player.
हाँ
Like,
ठीक है, like even the covered drive that he like hit और उसके अलावा उसने स्क्वायर कट मारा वो थर्ड मैन और उसके स्क्वायर के दरमियान से निकल गया, oozing class, ठीक है. But whenever the spinner is here, वो एकदम से ना एक shell में चला जाता है, he's trying to flick it on the leg for an easy single or literally like taps it. It's almost as if he's mentally stuck. That's the
yeah,
personal take I have. So इसलिए जब उसने मुस्तफिज ने कहा स्पिन के खिलाफ अच्छे, I'm like I beg to differ on it slightly आज के, because I think
यार
इसकी
उसके
फॉर्म फट
नंबर्स
गया.
देख लो।
वरना तब रेश शम्सी को जो छक्के मारे थे उसने साउथ अफ्रीका में 193 पे क्विंटन डकॉक, तो अल्लाह पूछेगा, वो मुझे नहीं भूलते. ठीक है, सो
यार उसके अगर नंबर्स देखो ना, I was talking to someone about this a few days ago. If you consider the middle overs, it's like his average is like 46 and the strike rate of 150 के करीब. Okay, and if you're talking about leg spin specifically, it's I think 150 से ऊपर ही है and 40 plus ही है. तो like he can play spin and he can, I swear it on my life. I do. But yeah, I'm just worried Afghanistan के साथ क्या होगा, but future thoughts
I was telling
anyways.
my dad that Afghanistan would actually prove to be very difficult opposition, but he literally refused that argument. He's like, no. I'm
और
like,
मैं तो
Abu,
कह रही हूँ
hear me out. He's like, no, no.
they deserve Asia Cup win. India's not playing Sharjah. If India and Afghanistan went up against in Sharjah, Afghanistan would thrash them. They would go straight to the final.
I
They would
want
win.
Sri Lanka to be in the
I
final. Okay, we'll move on to
Yeah.
that later because that's another topic. Now I go back to Zoha. Zoha, मोहम्मद रिजवान दिल का टुकड़ा, मतलब जेन्युइन जब उसको स्टार्ट्स बताते हैं 6 मैचेस में से लास्ट 5 में पाकिस्तान का टॉप स्कोरर था, प्लेइंग थ्रू द पेन बैरियर, मतलब जेन्युइन उसके लिए तो मतलब प्यार ही प्यार है. ठीक है, वो तुम्हें याद है कि एक पोस्टर था वो कराची के उसमें था कि अडॉप्ट मी वाला, मैं जब इंग्लैंड वाले मैच में जाऊंगा ना तो वो वाला मैंने इस्तेमाल करना है. सच ने भाई
that was Iman.
व्हाट
Good reference though. I appreciate that.
Borrow कर लेना,
I thought he
guess.
became an overnight celebrity and you were in every single podcast, so I didn't know you're the same person.
It was not. In fact, I was very much mortified by the events that unfolded.
Okay,
But
so sorry, I didn't know.
this was fun. This was unexpected and fun.
Yeah, I had
yeah,
no idea.
we'll add it in the
know.
bloopers. So coming back to the topic, Mohammad Rizwan, an absolute warrior, playing through the pain barrier. I mean, वो literally ICU से उठकर आके सेमीफाइनल खेल के Zampa को 6 मारा था, हेजलवुड को उड़ा के रख रहा था. Literally yesterday, when he took off the helmet and you saw the leg spinner bowling, पता था छक्का आएगा. When he went across and suddenly he's like, I'll show you my slog sweep. So such the match, when there's a target, it's almost as if Rizwan dictates the pace of the team. Unlike when they're like batting first, the other time when they're chasing, it's so beautiful watching Rizwan bat because mentally he has everything in his bat. And I was hearing Harsha Bogla in the morning, and he's like, if you notice, they never let the run rate went beyond 11. It stayed at 10.8, but Rizwan knew who to hit, where to hit, when to hit. So thoughts on Rizwan? I mean, all praise and all, but still थोड़ी सी तारीफ हो कर दो.
Two things. Yeah, I was just talking to Mustafid about this yesterday. Actually, this is like we love it, we love to see it, but it is a little unhealthy. Matlab, the way he played semi-final, like he shouldn't have played. Like uske baad jo video hai, like he's saying I was about to die, but I just wanted to play the match. That's not healthy. And uske baad like yesterday, if he's going for an MRI after playing 20 overs, I don't think that's a very healthy approach. And number two, I recently I was having a conversation with someone in Pakistani coaching, and they said like Rizwan is obsessive to the point like he won't sleep if he's not playing well. Matlab, he off the record he said that he knows he's not the most talented, naturally talented player in our squad, but he does not want that to hold him back, and he's like obsessed with going out there. और अगर वो कहता है कि अगर वो 2 घंटे है ना extra, if he has to make up for like the talent, the lack of talent, then he will do it. and I genuinely appreciate that. But then again, if you think that he's our main wicket keeper, वो पूरे 40 ओवर खेलता है गेम के, then that's not like long term. He's 31, 32 now. I don't think that's a very healthy approach, and that's something we need to seriously consider. So we have 3 injuries per
I
season.
agree
That's
100% with you, because when Naseem Shah was bowling in the first match against India and cramping up and taking wickets, I was telling Safa, Iman, Safa is another panelist who like usually comes, that he's literally risking his potential Asia Cup and England series, because you did not know कि वाकई cramps पड़ रहे हैं कुछ और, and like literally you're injured and you're still going out in full steam like bowling. So Pakistani में ये बहुत है. If it had been like an Australian or an English player, they would have probably said, okay, the match is not that important. It's a group stage. We know that we will eventually qualify. It's better to save that person rather than risk his potential future. तो उसमें क्या करते हैं, if suppose this was on Morgan, वैसे वो अब retire हो गया, he would have said, okay, Naseem, you're not bowling. Khushdil, take the ball. I don't care. Just ball the four balls that you have. पढ़ती है पढ़ने दो, you can't really save that. शायद नसीम को भी पड़ जाती. But the important thing is I would have saved my player from a potential injury long term. So I agree on that with you. So with that slightly wrapped up, it's time for predictions. So who do you want to see on Sunday playing against Pakistan? इंशाल्लाह पहले अफगानिस्तान का लेडू बैठे हैं, इसलिए इंशाल्लाह बोलना बहुत जरूरी होता है. I don't want India again. It's almost as if I need an aspirin during the match. मतलब I can't even describe the emotions that I went through. मतलब सबसे ज्यादा मजा तो ये आया था जब आसिफ अली का कैच आया, इतनी गालियां निकली कि मनहूस से क्या तो इतनी देर रिव्यू से बचकर आया है और उसी वक्त कैच दे रहा है, and then he dropped the catch and then you're like, oh, do I still curse Asif Ali or do I pray he scores now? Such dilemmas are a regular feature when I'm actually watching the cricket match. So I would personally want Sri Lanka to come because I am empathetic towards them as well because उनके home ground में ये होना था, and suddenly they have to realize that they cannot host it, despite the fact that Pakistan did say कि हम आपको support करते हैं 100%. They realize they cannot host it. So it would be fitting for them to actually reach the Asia Cup final, and it would be a big statement considering everyone now thinks that they're like gone and dusted, and Sri Lanka is no longer a cricketing nation. They have been doing well. I mean, Australia wali series, Pakistan ke khilaf test, which everyone thought that Pakistan would easily win. So I think it would be a slow rise to their back. I mean, Bangladesh was trying to troll them, which is no offense, but Bangladesh is the fifth when it comes to rankings Asian teams, in my opinion. And you're like, I feel sad for them. They're the same nation, Sangakkara, Jayawardene, Dilshan, Muralidharan, and they're suffering now. So I want them to actually reach the final. And they've also won a match. So all they need to do is beat India. तो वो भी थोड़ा मुश्किल है, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह वो कर सकते थे, वो कोशिश करें. So Iman, your turn.
Yeah, I get you. This Iraj, my sister has the same feelings. Magar, I am just biased. I love Afghanistan. I feel like Sri Lanka, like you said, has had its limelight. And their young ones right now, जो उनकी थोड़ी resurgence हो रही है, they have time. ठीक है? We've seen Afghanistan for a long time. They've never really gotten there. And space में भी कोई कह रहा था, I think अफगानिस्तान का ही फैन था, वो कह रहा था कि आपको कोई आइडिया नहीं है कि हमारे कंट्री में कैसा होता है क्रिकेट, एंड लाइक the team works so hard. And even if you remember last year की story, how Afghanistan made it to the World Cup, and I just think they're tailor made for T20 cricket क्योंकि I mean, all respect to them, वो ODI और टेस्ट में कुछ नहीं जीतेंगे. I mean, no offense, but like hey, that's their T20. So I would want them. मगर अब श्रीलंका से हार चुके हैं, so they would have to meet India and Pakistan in order to make the final. So I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'll say Sri Lanka as well, but I really wish they
I don't
beat
want
Sri Lanka.
Afghanistan to face us because honestly हमारे पास spin के अच्छे players नहीं, उनकी spin अच्छों को समझ नहीं आती, and every time you play against them it's like इमाद वसीम वहाब रियाज आके छक्का मारे बचाने के लिए, and suddenly you realize कि शोएब मलिक को आखिर एंड तक खेलना पड़ा था, शादाब खान को छक्का मार के जिताना पड़ा था. पिछली बार भी ओ नो बाबर आजम गलत टाइम पे आउट हो गए, फिर आसिफ अली को जन्नत नजर आ गया सामने. तो it's not been easy, and everyone thinks they're literally a very easy team to play against.
Exactly.
Their explosive batting cannot be stopped. I mean, उनके बंदे कहाँ शॉट नहीं मारते, पीछे हो गए, आगे हो गए. It's like they only know dot or a six. Like even fours are out of the equation. मारते वो छक्का ही है, ठीक है. And that's so dangerous considering कि अगर पिच फ्लैट हो गई, जिस तरह हमारा पाकिस्तान इंडिया के साथ हो गई थी, तो फिर शादाब खान को कुछ करना पड़ेगा फिर से. But they face Rashid Khan in net, so pretty sure Shadab Khan would not be a big upgrade on that. I'm saying he is better.
I said this last year as well. हम लोग न्यूजीलैंड और इंडिया को बीट कर चुके थे. मैंने कहा था कि अगर वो हमें हरा भी दें, I will be happy. You know what? हम लोग ने already qualify कर लिया. I want to win for Afghanistan, and I will say it again. अगर पाकिस्तान अफगानिस्तान फाइनल हुआ, अफगानिस्तान beats us, I will not be upset about it. I love Pakistan, I do, but I will be happy for them. Only team. Other teams I'll be like, screw you. No. Anyways.
Okay, Zoha, your turn.
I'm also partial towards Afghanistan, and the only reason is Rashid Khan. Like, I really, really, really love Rashid Khan. I'm a
He
huge
met Rashid Khan, so that's why she's saying that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I met all
yeah.
like the entire squad, Afghanistan squad. They were going आगे मेरे बिल्कुल आगे से, and I lost my shit at Rashid Khan. I was like, this is this is going great. I didn't even take a picture. Like it didn't even like slip my mind. I was freaking out so much. But I'm so like I believe in my own power of jinx. वो अभी तक तब कोई मैच हारे नहीं थे. उससे अगला मैच वो खेले और हारे. I am the biggest jinx in the world.
Petition to
And
send.
उस दिन
एक टाइम पे याया सैनी होता है जिस टीम पर बंदे के साथ फोटो
उस
लेता है,
दिन
जीरो पे आउट रहता है. Even
उस दिन
AB de Villiers had the only golden duck of his career when he took a photo with Yahya Hussaini. जो
Rashid Khan got hit for a 17 or a 18 off and over. I was like, this
he
is
went
me.
for 43 runs and he was bullied by
This is
the
me. This is
batter.
me.
अब वो जो मीम देखी थी ना, उसने उसकी असली उम्र पूछ ली थी वो वाली. Like he was literally like confronted, even though he did get a wicket, like उसने उस बंदे को आउट कर दिया था, but the damage had been done. And
He was furious. He was furious. उसका बस नहीं चल रहा था, वो कुछ करके आए.
Yeah, and you know, all they had to do was play out Rashid's overs. They didn't even need to attack him. That was just the skill of the Sri Lankan batters. Like,
another thing is that it was a statement of intent. Mujib, Nabi, Rashid,
Exactly.
all of them went to the boundaries. Like literally किसी को नहीं बख्शा उन्होंने. वो सारे डरते हैं नबी को ओवर निकाल दो, मुजीब की समझ नहीं आती, राशिद तो पता नहीं मार्च से स्पिन सीख कर आया है. And suddenly you're like, ये तो मुझे अब्दुल कादिर का बेटे की जिसमें बॉलिंग लग रही है. ठीक है, नो ऑफेंस, बट उसको भी इसी तरह पढ़ते हैं. 40 रन और 2 विकेट ले लेगा, ठीक है. एंड सडनली यू थिंक ही इज अ वर्ल्ड क्लास स्पिनर, बट द बेटर ट्रूथ इज उसको जो विकेट मिलती छक्के खाते हुए मिलती हैं, ठीक है. तो on that note, we are once again short of time, so before we actually like end this episode, there is one cricket, there had been a cricket match जो पूरी दुनिया के center of attention बना. I mean, मैं सोया हुआ था unfortunately when it actually happened. Zimbabwe destroyed Australia उनकी home ground के अंदर. I mean, ये रायन ब्रोल ने लिटरली 5 out of 5 for 10, मतलब मेरे क्विज में मार्क्स इस तरह आते थे 5 out of 10. तो जब मैं क्रिक इन्फो देखा था, I was like, am I still hallucinating or did this actually happen? And it was so wholesome. I mean, I remember Ryan Roll ki tweet from like almost a year ago कि हमें को sponsor दे दे so we don't have to glue our shoes together. And it was so like, but I was slightly pissed at the commentary. They're like, he's so lucky to get that wicket. No, bro, it's not lucky. He literally frighted the ball. It spun. Maxwell had a leading edge. I mean, क्या मतलब lucky? Pretty sure if Zampa got that wicket, then you'll suddenly realize कि उसके बाल Shane Warne से मिलते हैं और उसकी spin भी मिलती है. तो वो अलग चीज है. तो and I was very happy Marcus Stoinis lost as well. मतलब even though it's been almost a year, Marcus Stoinis and Matthew Wade, whenever they suffer, I get happy.
Also, Stoinis, so I have personal like vendetta. उसने भी like literally the 100 में दोबारा स्टैन को बोला है कि
वो ये जो करता जा रहा
so mad at him.
He's just such a
so mad
loser.
at him.
मतलब कसम से मतलब बंदे को कुछ शर्म आया होती है, आउट होकर जा रहे, rather than thinking that I'm a shit player who got lucky once, you're like बंदे ने वो पट्टा मारा. Literally class 6 में जब हम क्रिकेट खेलते थे ना, तब ऐसे बच्चे हरकतें करते हैं. तुमने जो है तेज बॉल करा दी, तुमने जो है मैं देख नहीं रहा था बॉल करा दी, मतलब
Try ball.
हाँ फर्स्ट बॉल ट्राई बॉल, मतलब अगर वो कहता ना मुझे ट्राई
I
बॉल
was that person, by the way. First ball, try ball. Every time I got out. First ball, try ball.
मैं आउट नहीं होता था वरना मैं करता। तो इवन इफ ही सेड ना हसनैन प्लीज आओ, या मुझे भाई भाई होता है तो वो आप मुझे दे दो एक्स्ट्रा बैटिंग, आई एम प्रीटी श्योर हसनैन इज सच अ स्वीट हु वुड हैव बीन लाइक प्लीज आप वापस आ जाएं। बट जाते भी क्या रोंदी मार कर गया, मतलब हद होती है। वैसे माय कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरी साइड थॉट के पाकिस्तान जो हसनैन को नहीं खिलाएगा इन एशिया कप, he's just going to be there in the nets and he's going to try, so he's ready and primed up for
Yeah,
the World
same.
Cup ताकि कोई उसके एक्शन पे meanwhile allegation ना बनाए। If you remember हफीज भाई जो PSL में स्पिन नहीं करा रहे थे, लेकिन इवेंचुअली ही इज देयर फॉर द वर्ल्ड कप बॉलिंग हिज ऑफ स्पिन। मतलब मैं तो कह रहा था कि आखिरी मैच है फीस भाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया के खिलाफ वो 2-3 मट्टे मार देते थे डेविड वार्नर के मुंह के ऊपर, आफ्टर उसने वो जो डेड बॉल पे छक्का मारा। तो it's almost time to wrap it up. उससे याद है Rashid Khan is your buddy, so you're saying कि you support him. My best friend is Mohammad Hafiz, but I don't clearly support him anymore after his opinions. ठीक है, so we need to be like we need to have firm stances regarding cricket. So like on that note, it's time to end our yet another episode. And एकदम से मुझे end पे realize होता है कि मैं stand up comedy भी कर सकता हूँ। So thank you Eman for actually coming, and guys, I just realized ये वो ही है poster वाली, and she was famous. Well, so okay. Thank you so much and Allah Hafiz.
Rafiz.